Hello, hello. I really hope this fucking plays on this show. Welcome back, loyal fight fans. We're gonna jump right in today, certainly hoping the audio works at the intro, and do as we always do, asking you to give us the thumbs up for this video and the subscribe button if you haven't already. Possibly the most important of all, tell a friend, a family member, and possibly even a crazy ex-girlfriend or a homeless guy or anybody that you know that enjoys combat sports. Tell them about this show because I'm sure they'd love it. Today we're going to jump right in and talk Liam Smith versus Chris Eubanks Jr. and all the things that could go down this fight, and we're going to give you our pick. Here we go. Chris Eubanks Jr., a minus 250 favorite, takes on Liam Smith, a plus 220 underdog. Eubanks Jr. record stands at 32-2 with 23 KOs. Liam Smith's record 32-3-1 with only 1 KO. And so as far as numbers are concerned, Eubanks having the slight edge, but only as far as numbers are concerned. Now, Eubanks, he has fought a very good fighter by the name of George Groves, which was his toughest competition, and he lost that fight. He has beaten some decent guys, but they are the likes of a level of like a Avni Yildirim or a Gary O'Sullivan. Those are some of the names on his record. While Liam Smith, his losses are to better competition, the likes of Saul Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia. His wins, in my humble opinion, are better as well, beating Jesse Vargas and Anthony Fowler. Those wins not only back-to-back, but they are also very recent. You know, I think this fight goes all the way because despite Eubanks' KO ratio, which is not incredible, but it is very good, and Liam Smith's 1 KO out of 32 wins, this fight should go all the way because Liam Smith is a veteran who fights very well and smart and safe enough, though he is an active boxer. I believe for sure that he will be much more active than Eubanks Jr. in this fight. Though he likes to use the high guard, it is an active one where he moves his head a lot, even getting some sorts of trunk movement. He doesn't feint a lot, but he finds his distance very well and can get inside safely enough throughout his fights. He also selects his shots very well. Eubanks Jr., on the other hand, is a way better counter puncher, a bigger man with some more power, but he is very inactive. Now, that bigger puncher, better counter puncher kind of thing and more KOs is proven right along with his record, but the question stands, can he do it against a fighter like Liam Smith, who is a veteran, who has fought better competition? I think this fight goes all the way, and if you wanted to place your money on somebody, I would say that, in my opinion, what is a 50-50 toss-up here, you should go Liam Smith, being that he's a plus 220 underdog, so you get plus money. That's a very small underdog as far as boxing is concerned, and this should definitely be a good fight. It also features, on the undercard, Big Frazier Clark coming back. It has Joseph Parker on it. Also, the Richard Riakporhe versus Glowacki fight should be highly competitive as well. So, pretty decent, and it is in the UK. If you're not familiar with watching fights so far that take place in Ireland and the UK, they have quite a spirit behind their fans. And even through the TV screen here across the pond in the States, you can get a sense of that simply by the amount of noise, atmosphere going on even through your TV screen, through a broadcast when you're not there. You will get a sense of that. Me being Irish and from that area of the world, maybe, that's where my heart belongs, and that's why I'm running a boxing podcast. But nonetheless, go check out those fights because they should be good. And, we're a boxing podcast, so we don't do this a lot, but we only talk MMA when I feel like I deserve to know what I'm talking about, or like you deserve to listen to me, where I feel like I really know that this is something worth talking about, that I can speak about, as I do with the boxing. It's hard to cover within both sports very well, so I mainly stick to the boxing. This is very, very, very important. We're going to talk about Francis Ngannou leaving the UFC, walking away from the negotiation tables on his own terms, and turning down a lot of money while doing it as well. So, first and foremost, as I'm bumping the shit out of this, first and foremost, I'm going to encourage you, if you haven't already, to go check out the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, as he did an interview with Francis Ngannou about how the negotiations fell apart. Very good interview, where a lot of information comes from. But as a fellow YouTuber, I am very also aware of the short attention span of viewers. So today, we're going to give you the short and sweet good stuff, what I thought personally is the most important things to take away from all of this. So Francis Ngannou, he leaves the UFC, right? He walks away from the negotiation tables. You might have heard all of this, but there's more details to it that are highly important. So first and foremost, for a while now, even the last two fights that Francis Ngannou's had, we've known that, him and the owner of UFC, president of UFC, Dana White, have not had the greatest relationship, right? Notoriously, Dana White not showing up for the post-fight press conference in his last fight, where he defeated Cyril Gane, via decision to defend his title. Francis Ngannou is the active heavyweight champion of the world for the UFC right now, the reigning current champion. He is gone now from the UFC, and the reasons stand as I used to think. All these happenings of how the relationship soured, all these things. I am no big fan of Dana White, but I did actually chalk it up to Francis is not unlike a lot of other fighters. Certainly a fighter who will be supposedly fighting again soon, John Jones, he's done the same thing, wanting more money. A lot of fighters have. A lot of fighters have gone through this battle of asking for more money. Okay, so this is nothing new to the UFC, and although I want to see the fighters get paid more, it's just nothing new, and we know it doesn't work. And so again, I thought this is a waste of his time, but also a crucial mistake maybe, as he is going to sever ties with them over something that has been tried countless times before, fighting over money. So here's the real deal, right? He talked to Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour, and he speaks about him parting ways with the UFC as the active heavyweight champion of the world. They apparently, now I want to clarify, first and foremost, I want to clarify, Francis Ngannou's last fight that he had in the UFC, when he was already the heavyweight champion of the world, he was paid a guarantee of $600,000. Not much. As far as fighting sports are concerned, especially in boxing, not much at all, right? So $600,000 as the active heavyweight champion of the world. And then a bonus around another $500,000 or $600,000 leaves you just over the $1 million mark, okay, for a fight. He wanted more money. He's spoken openly about wanting more money. This turned quickly into something more important because they offered him, he wanted a 3-fight deal. They don't usually, UFC and Dana White don't usually give out 3-fight deals. They said, we'll make an exception for you, Francis, and we'll give you the 3-fight deal. We know you've been talking about fighter pay, fighter rights, being treated like a man, health care, so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, stop with all that. We'll give you the 3-fight deal when we usually want more on a contract when we renegotiate here. We'll give you the 3 fights just like you want, and we'll pay you around $25 million to do it. So that's about $8 million a fight now that they have offered him. Okay? You win, Francis. Let's do it. Let's give you what you wanted. Francis Ngannou says, I want, that's great. That's more than enough money. I want health care for all the fighters, not just me. Okay? And I want an active liaison to be a part of negotiations and to help us and look out for us, meaning more than him, all fighters. They said no, and he walked away from this. He walked away from this, saying his values are more important. And that was the strongest thing at the table for him, more than the money, and he has walked away from this. I want to play you something, a clip, just from, again, shout out Ariel Helwani, the MMA Hour. Go check out the full interview, but if you haven't already, here's an important clip, I thought, from the show I want to play for you real quick.
Oh, no. They say no, they don't do business like that. They say, yes, I can pay my health insurance. And all that. I'm like, yes, I can pay my health insurance. At this point, health insurance for me is not a problem, but how about those guys that still at the bottom make 10 plus 10 or plus if I make 10, they can really afford that health insurance, and I have been there, so it's something that still I still carry in my heart.
So to be clear, were you asking for these things not only for you, but for everyone?
Yeah, I do ask that for everyone.
You wanted everyone to get...
I knew it couldn't happen, but right. I asked.
Yeah.
I asked, yes.
So ultimately, the money, would you say you were okay with the money? It was just all these other things that you didn't like?
Listen, even the money wasn't that okay, and I said this before. I said, I'm okay of structuring a deal. It's not just money is not what you get right away. You can get a long-term money. You can get a long-term value out of the deal, which is more than money. So, and I said this last time when Mick reached out because I couldn't come to an agreement with Hunter. I said, it's not all about money. We can structure this. You guys can give me something, then we consider I consider it more than money. You can give me even in Africa. This is something that I asked. I said, you can give me even in Africa that have a lot of value for me than the money. I'm willing to put water in my wine. If you give me something like that, those were the things that I asked for.
And putting water in your wine. So give me less money. I didn't need all that money. That money's good. I'm willing to even take less money. But I want health care, health insurance for not just me, but for all the fighters. They said no, and Francis Ngannou walked away from Brock Lesnar style money in the UFC, the highest money that anybody could have been, could have wanted out of this. When he walked into this meeting, they gave him best case scenario money, and he said, I want health care for not just me, but for all the other fighters. They said, no, we don't do business like that. And he said, okay, I think we're done here as the active heavyweight champion of the world. Here's the deal. Francis Ngannou is an absolute legend and a hero for that. Legend, and he is a hero for doing that. And my question to you is, will he be remembered? Because sadly, I mean, I know I'll remember it. I'm not getting on my high horse. I'm sure you guys remember him. You'll remember him like I do. You'll remember his name. You'll remember to say to your friends, only if you watched, by the way, only 5 years from now, 3 years from now, even 1 year from now, only if you were watching MMA, watching combat sports in this time period, will you remember Francis Ngannou, or otherwise you'd have to get told about him. Will you remember what he did here at the negotiation tables when he had all the, the leverage that a fighter could have, and they knew that and were willing to pay him more? Will he be remembered in 6 months from now with UFC, putting on its other great events and just moving on from this? Will he be remembered? Will he be remembered when we see Cyril Gane versus John Jones for the only now, vacant title because the real champion has walked away? If we see Cyril Gane take it over, the new young face, if we see John Jones, possibly the greatest MMA fighter of all time, recapture the belt, will right then and there people completely forget about this and the sacrifice that Francis Ngannou has actually done. I'm going to say something. This kind of selflessness is unheralded in MMA that Francis Ngannou just showed walking away from this contract. And I want to know if he will be remembered. Will you go watch him in a strange PFL fight? Will you go watch him in a boxing match that you may know he doesn't have a hope to win? Or if he does have a hope to win, it's because he's fighting some guy you've never heard of if you're not a big boxing fan. Will you go and support Francis Ngannou for these incredible, selfless, heroic choices that he made, knowing damn well what he was sacrificing as the active, current, reigning heavyweight champion of the world? Francis Ngannou is a hero, and I hope you remember him.